7:39. We want to welcome to the program this morning James Faulkner. Good morning, sir. How are you?
Rollin, good morning to you, and good morning, Eureka, California.
Whereabouts in the world are you at this fine day?
I'm currently in Dallas, Rollin. I'm traveling on the Paul Apostle of Christ press junket because the film opens today nationwide.
And I noticed, I quickly looked to see, or do we get the chance to see it here? And we do. We've got, I think, 4 showings in one of our theaters nearby. So it'll be excellent after we get done talking to you to go check out this film.
Please do.
So
the film is just being described quite a bit as a faith-based film, and that's for some people pejorative. It really isn't just that, and it's just as relevant to a secular audience. It's a film about Paul and Luke and strength of belief, and the way that this man Paul, the second most important man in the founding of the Christian Church, brought Christianity to Rome and thence to the wider world, and changed the world by doing that, and taking the teachings of Jesus out to a wider world. And this is a man who started life as a pugilist, as a policeman, an enforcer for the synagogue and for the Sanhedrin, and struck down on the road to Damascus. And we see him now in the last 10 days of his life in solitary confinement in prison, in the bowels of a Mamertine prison in Rome.
So let me ask you this, James. Prior to going into the production of this film, and we'll talk about what that involved, were you knowledgeable in the Christianity story and Paul himself and so forth?
I was brought up an Anglican, like many people in the UK. I went to Sunday school age 4, and I was trained as a chorister at Addington Palace, the Royal College of Church Music, from the age of 7, and then I went away to boarding school for 10 years, and we had services twice a day. I liked to sing in the choir and to be at the sharp end. So I was brought up a Christian.
So you were quite well versed in.
I myself as Christian light in terms of being a practicing Christian. I'm essentially a professional actor who was given a very large leading role in a movie, and I have to say it was a transformative experience.
Well, let's talk about that. So you go into, as you know, it's another job. You're working this, but you get into play this role that already you've had some effect in your life of. After doing the movie and coming out on the other end, which we are at now, what's the difference in yourself from this experience?
Well, I'm very fortunate. I've been married to the same girl for 41 years, Rollin.
Mm-hmm.
And my wife,
congratulations.
Was really quite bizarre people at the dinner table over the course of our marriage. And because I played a lot of villains, a lot of very peculiar guys, a lot of crazy guys, and I can tell you that she's very happy that I had the experience of playing Paul, and that she's got rather a different guy who comes home at the end of the day, and who's a better husband than he used to be.
Did you sit a little different at the dinner table with her after this? Maybe expecting a little bit more? Did she treat you any different, or did she still serve you dinner the same way?
Well, she's quick to remind me when I go off piste, and I give her a hard word. She says, "Well, that's not what Paul would say. that's not what people would expect to hear from you." So yeah, no, my life has changed a little. I'll be honest about it. And I think there's the potentiality of being a better man than I was before, right? In recent years, I played Randall Tarley in Game of Thrones, who's a real hard-ass, and then before that, Lord Cinderby in Downton Abbey. And my children inform me that I've become a meme, and my meme is this: worst father in the world.
Uh-oh.
Not a good sobriquet.
No, but you still have time. You can change that, and so maybe after this experience, you're going to do that. Could you see yourself going back to do some of these roles of underworld characters in Game of Thrones? The character you had there, can you go back and do those still?
Because people say, what do you want to do next? I have no idea. The next job is the best job in a sense. role, fantastic opportunity. It is pretty terrifying, pretty daunting. And then, you're in London. Paul, what do I know about Paul? I know about the moment on the road to Damascus. We all know about that. And then you're reminded, Rollin, that the largest cathedral in London is called St. Paul's. And you think, oh, wait a moment. He's kind of important.
Yeah.
And a lot of people know a great deal about him. And as the days roll by now, I discover more and more that for a great many people who studied divinity, that very often their study was Paul, because he was the most difficult of men.
When you get
the most extraordinary of men.
So when you filmed this movie, James, where are the locations? Did you film in Rome? Whereabouts did you get a chance to visit?
We filmed it in Malta, not far from the capital of Malta, Valletta, because Malta is a very small island in the Mediterranean and constructed almost entirely of rock, and it's the same color stone that you would have found in the Holy Land 2,000 years ago in Rome and around the Eastern Mediterranean. And that gives us its character. It's where, curiously, where Gladiator was shot, which was set in Rome at the end. And it's very easy. Those stones make the film very, very real. And there is a prison there, and there are a great many fortifications there. It's a wonderful location. It's beautifully shot by the director of photography. It looks like a Caravaggio in motion, with a wonderful score and a really good cast of actors.
It's a beautiful part of the world. We were actually there about a year ago. Who else is in this film?
I was there last year before Paul, 37 years ago, for the miniseries, The Martian Chronicles, and rather a different production to Paul, and it was about a mission to Mars, led by Rock Hudson, who arrives on the surface of Mars and meets a Martian. Mr. K was played by me.
Oh, there you go.
There you go.
That is
a great many strange people in my life.
So in your acting career, and you've done a lot. We mentioned just some of the stuff you've done most recently. You also do a number, and because I can understand why, hearing your voice, you've done a lot of audio books, and you've voiced a few video games. What's it like to sit down and just do some of those documentaries or the audio books where it's just your voice? And
it's a great pleasure. I mean, reading a book is really difficult because you're expected to do 8 hours a day, and I don't have to tell you. Well, the voice is a muscle like any other and gets tired,
Right.
And, I like to dramatize the book a little, although you still need to hear the narrator. And it's really not easy doing 23 nuns drowning in a lifeboat. Yeah. I once read a book called Bomber. When the BBC first dramatized Bomber, they had a cast of 50-odd, and you have to do it as one person and keep 6 aircraft in the air and all the night fighters and the entire city of Leipzig. But it's fantastic training.
Yeah.
I love doing documentaries. Do you know the great pleasure of doing these things? You don't have to learn it.
Ah, there you go. But you do pull something from the experience.
And to play Paul at very short notice, there are screeds and screeds of text that you have to get under your belt.
So the Paul Epistle of Christ, it opens today. It's going to be here at the Broadway Cinema in Eureka, one of the theaters screens there. James, it's a pleasure talking to you. I could listen to you speak all day long, so I'm probably going to have to just go get a couple of those books and on audiobooks.
A couple of those books, but more importantly, Rollin, go and see the film. It's an important film. It's a beautiful film.
I think I've got time today, and I probably will.
And to hear the voice of Paul speak to you about love and redemption is quite something.
All right. James, thanks for joining us on the program. We look forward to seeing your work.
It's been a pleasure, Ron.
Thank you. Bye-bye.